Very well, friends. Let's continue with our 3D King course, creating a robot in Maya and ZBrush. So you can work on your own scene, or you can import the scene we have included in your course material named Lesson 4. Last time we worked on the proportions and the size of the arm and leg. So now we will duplicate them. This way we can start to complete our draft. I would also like to select this piece here and adjust it so that it can appear more like our reference. Now we will select the whole arm, including the shoulder piece. We will press Ctrl G to create a group, Ctrl D to duplicate. On scale X, we input -1 to invert. Now we have the arm on the other side, and we will repeat the process for the leg. Before we duplicate the leg, I would like to create these bars here that attach the upper part of the leg to the hip and torso. The top of the leg is also aligned with the top of the center piece. Here's the center part of the leg, and we can see how it is aligned in relation to the torso and the hip area. So checking with our model here and checking back with our reference model, here we can see that the lateral part of the leg sticks out some from the lateral part of the torso. And there we can reference that with our image. So let's come back, and what we will be doing is we will select the entire leg and we will shift it over just a little bit. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and also I want to adjust these claw-like features here on the bottom. Okay, so that it can start to look better when I duplicate that. Also, it seems like the lateral part of the leg aligns with the shoulder section. Okay, this is another reference we can use to align the leg. We also confirm that we have good placement. Okay, and by constantly checking the reference, we can align all our pieces and check the proportions and the size in relation to our reference image, and that way we can keep working on our model, making sure everything is in place. So now let's continue to duplicate the bars for this section of our model. We can copy them from this piece on the leg and adjust the angle like so. And we will continue to duplicate with Ctrl D for the other pieces. We can create a few bars for this section, so let's make another and bring it toward the rear. Check our reference and we can create one more with Ctrl D, and we will also bring that piece toward the rear. And that is starting to look a lot better so far. Okay, and we can tell now the leg seems to be connected to the torso as a reference. Now let's select all the pieces of the leg. Control D and Control G to create that group, and on scale X we will input -1 to invert. There it is. As we can tell, our draft character is looking a lot better and more complete. It appears very basic, as we know. With this draft, we have the proportions, size, and position in place, and that is a big head start for us, which will save us a lot of trouble when modeling our character and working out the details. So let's bring our image side by side to compare, and once again we just want to verify that our size, proportions, and placement is identical to that of our reference. It's obviously it's not perfect, but it's coming along quite nicely and looking a lot more like our reference each time. We still need minor adjustments and to work on the symmetry. We start to consider symmetry and position, we want to check with our reference. As we can tell, the position of the right arm is different than that of the left. Here in our model, however, it seems to be perfectly symmetrical. So we want to begin to adjust the position and the form and how the arms and legs are flexed. This way the placement will start to become more like that of our reference, while all the while we are keeping the general size and proportions. So for now, let's come back and we will work on this top piece here. Seems to be like an accessory piece, okay, on the back of our character. So let's take a look at the placement. It seems to be over the shoulder, and we can begin to create this piece, and we can duplicate this piece here. Generally, I try to use the closest sphere. That way it's a bit faster to bring into place and to rotate. So we can also start to tell the placement as in a reference, and we'll come back and check that here in our image. So we can tell the placement seems to be right over the shoulder, and we can of course come back and make some adjustments, updating the angle and making sure that we get the right placement. And of course we want to verify that with our reference image after we make these updates here. Okay, so it seems to be coming along. However, we do need to come back and make some more adjustments, just like so. And it seems like we can make it a little bit larger and rotate a little bit. We can come back and check with the reference. Okay, and there we are. We can also come back and create this detail here with a couple of spheres. I will select Control Vertex from the hotbox menu and come back and select Hull, and with Hull we can select pretty much the outside border, and we will widen it and bring it down to give it a better form. And we will return to object mode so we can tell more of a half moon type shape to our piece now. And let's come back and compare it with the reference, and it does seem to be adequate for now. The position also seems to be good. From the same sphere we can also duplicate, and of course we can adjust the size, and here we can see a little bit better. Okay, and let's continue to work on the shape. Check the placement. Okay, and looks like we can make it just a little bit bigger, this piece here. Another top piece. Okay, and we notice we're not moving it over a single axis, but rather from the center. And we can select the Hull option once again from the hotbox menu, and we'll move this upward to round out the form. And we can also come back. Alright, looks rounder there. Now we can come back to the reference. Alright, and it seems to stick out a little too much, so let's try to select all three pieces to create a group. And we will center pivot. We'll come into pivot mode and bring the base down over here, and from this point we can scale it down just a bit. Okay, let's check that with our reference. This looks a little bit better. Okay, we also want to work on another feature of this piece here, which is these bars. Okay, connecting it there, so we can duplicate this piece. We want to adjust the angle and the placement here. And these bars connect this accessory type of piece here toward the back here. It's also seems like toward the back of the neck for this top one. And okay, we would just want to make those adjustments, make sure they're connected. Okay. Now it has, if you notice, also one in the back. Okay, that one comes straight down the back, it seems like. So we want to duplicate that, adjust the rotation, and also start to bring that into place. Okay. And we will continue to work that. And it does seem like, right, we almost have it there. That's looking better. Okay, so we have added that accessory piece, and the size looks adequate, right? And we just want to compare that really quickly. Remember, for now it doesn't have to be perfect. We just want the size and proportion, the placement to be well. And let's start to ask, what do we have left? And one of the things is we can work on the symmetry, as we previously mentioned. So we want to work on how the arms and legs are placed, how they are flexed, and we can look at small details like this on the knee here, this feature that sticks out. Okay, we can see that it's different on the right leg than that of the left. The left doesn't have that. The arms as well. We can tell the arms are a bit different. On this left shoulder, we have this jet-like turbine-looking feature, jet engine, and here we have these other features that are sticking out of the right shoulder. Okay, so those, keep in mind, are differences that we have, and they're not perfectly symmetrical in our reference image. So we wanna note those differences, so later when we start to make on the symmetry, work on the symmetry and start to make the final adjustments for our draft or base character, we can then start to model our robot, working out some details. Okay, so you can tell here we just want to come back and double check with our reference. We want to make sure, see that the arms and legs are of good size, and I'm constantly checking that here with a reference. And now I'm looking at the torso area. Okay, it seems that, well, maybe we can make some adjustments here on the torso area, just a tiny change I'm noticing, so that the arms and legs, that strong feature, is a little more pronounced in our character. Okay, the arms and the legs. So I want to come back and start to select all the pieces, including the accessory piece on the back. Okay, we'll press Ctrl G to create a group, and then of course we'll center pivot, and we can slightly scale it down. Okay, and we can tell, okay, it was bigger, and we want to adjust it to about this size, and that seems aesthetically better by making that slight adjustment. Now we have the main proportions, the size, and the placement for our draft or base character, and they seem in place. They seem to be looking nicely. Very well, friends, we will end this lesson here, and we will continue on the following lesson.